Welcome to EI family to another episode of The Everyday Investor. Today we have a very special guest. This gentleman has invested in himself to acquire a number of skills over time. He has used those skills to invest in a number of things from real estate to his own startup companies. Please help me welcome John Mohyi. How's it
David,
going, Mohyi?
good. Thank you so much. It's actually quite an honor to be on the show. I'm
Sure.
flattered to be a very special guest.
Yeah,
And thank you for having me here. I guess just a little bit about my background. I'm an attorney. You were one of my colleagues in law school
for sure.
at Michigan State. I also am an inventor as well, and I have a kind of a startup called Mohyi Labs, where I've been pursuing primarily a bladeless propulsion system for drones.
Yeah.
I've got a patent on the technology. I was on a TV show with Intel for the creation of this technology, and now I'm in the process of making certain derivative applications of it to come to market.
No, yeah, and again, we are again thankful and honored to have you on. Again, as you just pointed out, you have an interesting background going from your own law firm to you have actual patents in your startup company, Mohyi Labs. Under that umbrella, you are doing different things on the real estate front, and then some other cool things that we're going to get off into. So again, we're very excited to have you on and to learn from you. I think the audience is going to take a number of jewels from your story and what you have going on. But I kind of want to go back to the beginning a little bit in terms of how did you grow up? What was your situation growing up as it relates to your finances, your family's finances, I should say? Were you more of the middle class upbringing, or were you more of a wealthy upbringing? Can you tell us a little bit about your beginnings?
I would say that I was fortunate enough to grow up with a family of means.
Okay.
I would probably place myself in maybe an upper middle class
Okay.
scenario in the Oakland County area. So I had a lot of resources from the community and from my
Gotcha.
parents. And I think the difference for me that made a difference is that I always took advantage of those resources
Gotcha.
and invested in myself. Whereas I find that some people take those resources for granted.
Yeah.
Um, I had the wisdom of the previous generations who didn't have necessarily those resources to have the perspective of how valuable they are.
Gotcha.
And then, I use them for my advantage growing up.
No, and that's interesting. A lot of times when families come from maybe, or when kids growing up come from families with money, sometimes it's understood that hey, my parents have money or they're well off, but it seems like it may be a disconnect between the parents talking to the kids about investing and money and doing the right things with money. Is that something that you and your parents had discussions about growing up as far as hey, how to invest your money, how to spend it wisely, be responsible with money, and not just be reckless and spend recklessly. Were those conversations that you and your parents had growing up?
One of the, I guess, features about me is that I'm very introspective.
Yeah,
I always,
absolutely.
I always ask those questions about myself in third person, and kind of the conclusion that I came to on that topic is that I think in a way I'm kind of an old soul,
Yeah,
so I always spent a lot of time having conversations, even when I was very young, or being around the conversations of my parents,
gotcha.
and uh, my dad is a physician, and so the company that he keeps is going to be other physicians,
Absolutely.
or people that have high amount of education. So the conversations that I was always surrounded by were always intellectual conversations, whether it be medicine, politics, law, money. My mom in particular was always very, very focused on how important understanding finances are,
Gotcha.
because her mother was very focused on that, because she actually had to escape from her mom's mom and father actually had to escape during World War II,
Wow.
and so they came from Latvia to Canada, and they had to restart their entire lives as immigrants. So they knew the value of money, and that was kind of imparted to me. Uh, and then I also had the wisdom from my dad's side of the family that he passed on to me. So I am fortunate enough to be in a position where I was exposed to a lot of different ideas at a very young age. And so some of these very intellectual money conversations actually are very normal to me. And it took me a while to realize that sometimes for other people, they're not as common. So I understand